Welcome back to another edition of Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. Kicking it on the set, just kicking it nice and easy, kicking off 3 videos. Most importantly, we're going to come back. This is version 2 of the lockboxes, talking a little more about preparing and what it is exactly that the coalition is doing and the committee is doing, just to keep our membership informed and those that may want to become members. I suggest anybody go to the MMAR Coalition Against Repeal.com website. There's the option to click for a volunteer. It's important for impact statements. Anybody that can fill out impact statements, the more detailed, the better for our attorney. We have a little over 1,000 now. We'd like to see about 5,000 or 10,000 by the time we go to court. Anybody can fill out an impact statement. You don't have to be a medical user. You can actually be a family member that just don't want to see your loved one back on Oxycontin or Percocet or Percodan, something that they don't want to be on, you know, because they can't afford their cannabis or because they can't grow it anymore for an affordable price. So, you know, it becomes down to the issue of barriers to access, which we've talked about. So the lockboxes, you know, I know I've covered this once, but I figured I'd go into a little more detail this time and just kind of show what we're doing. So when you reps or volunteers get in touch with me, that sucks, the joint went out. Okay, when you guys get in touch with me, when these get mailed out to you, you'll get them like this, nicely sealed. And at present, we have 100 of them in the country, so we're looking to potentially get more, and we'll show what's going to go with them. So the box will come like this. I'll ask my camera lady actually just to, I'm sure you guys can read that, but just to zoom in on how the box looks. And just that there's a lock on top here. And then when you get it, you can just open it up. And then inside here, you'll find your keys, okay? So then you just close the box, you lock it up, you put your name on it, and you sign our legal paperwork that we have so that you're able to basically, lock it up. It's then locked. Your name's at the bottom. You'll be accountable through your committee rep, and of course you'll get the legal paperwork that comes with it. You would sign it as a receiver from myself or from Mike out of Manitoba. We're both working on the lockbox program, and then of course you would be able to dispatch them out to volunteers from there. And so anybody living in different areas, you know, whether it's Manitoba, whether it's Alberta, you know, Saskatchewan, wherever, look on our website for who your regional rep is, so that that regional rep can actually, or committee member, if you have it, can then start to plug you in and make sure that groups start to organize within our various regions. Game on, battle lines have been drawn, time to start getting organized. You know, we've been planning for 7 months. Campaign launches June 19th. You know, we may have seen some early releases. John Conroy was quoted in the paper as saying we're going to court between September and March 2014. So we're definitely looking at that timeline. Ideally, it would be before September 30th, when no more licenses would be issued. So now with the lockbox, so if you can imagine a package, it's going to come like this. You're going to get 2 posters that look like this. Now the posters are basically there to go up above the box. If people want to know general information about what's going on, it'll be on the poster for them to go ahead and take a look at. So it could kind of be displayed like this, you know, in a store. Now what will also come with this package will be the trifolds. So you'll probably get about 500 or 1,000 of these, really depending on where you live. Sorry, it's medication time. So it really depends on where you live, but having all these trifolds, this is kind of the way the package would go. And these have a lot more information. We're getting them revised right now. There's going to be another 5,000 of them printed. We're getting everything brought up to date. And we'll also have these out. Every committee rep will have their own business card. And you'll notice that on our website, we're updating that so that every committee rep will have a picture beside their name and an email and their legal first and last name, so that you know who it is you're dealing with and you know that they truly represent the coalition in the capacity of speaking for the committee. You know, the committee works direct with John Conroy on the case. That's kind of the structure we have in place. So That's a little bit about the lockboxes. I wanted to make sure we covered this because the business cards, these aren't this style here. I had these made previously. This isn't the style that's coming out. We have some custom ones done. Thank you, Ian. You kick butt as always. You know, he's got us some wicked prices, and they've got Q scans that you just scan it with your BlackBerry. It'll take you right to our website or with whatever phone you got, Android, whatever. Just Q scan and friggin' boom, you're at our website. You can fill out an impact statement from your phone. Nice and simple. So, you know, expect to see these cards around the boxes as well. And every box, of course, will be tracked. Now, for you store owners out there, when you receive the boxes, please understand there's a lot of legal jargon in the paperwork, but that's more just stuff that we need to do because of the nature of the case. It's something that we felt that we would ask people sign. I'm sure that as business owners, you would understand. If you have interest in not necessarily being a volunteer per se, but interest in hosting a box at your location and you're a store owner or manager, etc., please send me an email directly at the Coalition Against Repeal at gmail.com, and we can then address getting a box out to you and the applicable paperwork, get that signed and get a package out to you. We expect to have our printing done by next week, and all of the stuff will begin to go out across the country. So everybody be prepared. Please, let's fill up these lock boxes. Let's get to court by September before anybody has to worry about the loss of a license, a renewal, you know, or any more stress about March 31st, 2014. When I say don't stress, I'm not stressing, right? Let's not stress, okay? If Mr. Conroy gets the injunction, and my understanding is, I'm not a lawyer, but I've heard, you know, what the feedback is from other attorneys, is that the injunction is not going to be an issue. And just so you know, if we win the injunction, parts of the MMPR will be frozen, such as the repeal of the MMAR. That aspect for personal production would not be repealed. The rest of the MMPR would likely move forward, like the LPs and everything else. I can't speak for how it's going to play out. I can only tell you that we're arguing that if the bench agrees with our injunction or restraining order, then that section of personal production and designated production will be charter scrutinized, and which means basically that your license isn't going anywhere. You know, it's going to be there while we go through a constitutional challenge, which would follow a successful injunction. And that constitutional challenge, of course, would then look at whether different aspects of what the MMPR is proposing and some of the repeals are necessarily charter sound. It's important for me to take my time and go through this because I've received about 20 or 30 phone calls, had no real time to spend with the family, and burning myself right into the ground, trying to keep everybody calm. Some people think, June 19th, my license is gone, I better shut my room down. Some guys have already started shutting their rooms down. My friends, relax, okay? I know Mr. Conroy has not served his writ. Remember, this is a huge historic case. We're restraining the federal government. It has not been done. You know, we're trying to do something that's not traditional. Usually you wait for the law to be enacted, somebody gets charged, and then you challenge them. This time we're putting them on trial. We're not the defendants, the prosecution is. They have to defend why they're doing what they're doing to us. Join forces, my friends. You know, remember that analogy I used. You know, we're like the Irish. We need to unite the clans. The English are coming, and they're going to burn us out. Or we can make a stand, you know, and change history. I mean, to me, it's a big issue about Canada and the future of personal production in this country, be it legal, medical, or otherwise. On that note, I would just like to talk one more thing, and that's just going to be, I know everybody's heard about the medtainers, they've seen them going around. This is a treating yourself one. Haven't really talked much about it, so I thought that I would just cover it because we have a bunch of these, basically 10,000 of these, with different, you know, a friend of mine that's pushing them here in Canada and others that are pushing them, you know, around the world. You know, they're getting popular over in the U.S. You know, they're used for pill crushing and stuff in some places, so I understand all that because of illness. But it's also interesting to see how they work. So my own personal box here, I go in, I'll grab out a bud. You know, these things are pretty pretty dense. And again, using a C-Vault, I love these, I believe in them. You open this up, you got a grinder, right? In here, and there's your teeth. Now these teeth tend to not break off. I've been testing the crap out of these. I don't want to promote anything. If there's plastic shredding off in here, I want to know about it. So I will be getting them tested at the lab. I'll be doing a lot of stuff to want to know that there is no plastic. But at the same time, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing teeth break off. And when I'm putting a hard nug that sounds like that in there, it's almost like putting coffee and grinds in there. It's really big. I just twist it up, and now again, like this is compressed, really compressed, dense nugs. And aside from making a mess, which isn't always the best thing to do, that should be about the right size for a half decent joint. You can see there's still some stuck in the bottom there. That's just because of the size of the bud, but you can just give it a couple more twists. Bang it again, there's another joint that it's empty. Now, you'll notice, you're probably wondering, well, Jason, it's freaking dirty, man. Like, what the hell? The only reason I can't answer that, you'll see here, this is just typical of any grinder. Normally, you recover it by collecting your trichomes in the bottom. In this case, there's a way to get this off. What adhesive to use on plastic, I don't know. So I don't want to promote this in that area. Around what to use to recover what's in there. For those of you, and I know that for medicine it can get expensive, and recovering whatever resins in there, crushed trichomes, crushed granular heads, you know, that's still medicine. And there's ways to recover it, and when I know them, I'll bring them to you. But that's just a basic demonstration of how easy it is. This can grind up coffee beans. The teeth don't break, it's airtight, it's watertight. Now what matters to me about this is because one, it's plastic, it's not good for curing, it's not good for storing long term, but if you're going out for the day, you know what? I've personally been pulled off the bus. I've been pulled off the SkyTrain because I smell like weed. It's embarrassing. We get pulled over, detained. The airport video I still haven't put up yet just because I don't know if we're able to show airport security. But anyway, getting jacked up and detained as a medical patient is embarrassing. You're legal, you've done all the right paperwork, your doctor's approved you, the federal government's approved you, but still, you get pulled off the bus because you smell. So one way to deal with that is, one, don't smoke a big friggin' fatty and then get on the bus, because you're sure your clothes are gonna smell. But if you store your container or your medicine in an airtight container, it's better than carrying around a mason jar. It's glass, it can break. Or you can carry around a small C-Vault, or use this, because with this you've got your grinder built in, you can stick your papers in there, a one-day supply, you don't stink, you won't get pulled off a bus, okay, you won't get jacked up, and you've got a ready-made kit ready to go for your medicine, you know. And for those of you that want to vaporize or whatever, boom, bust it up, it's on the table. So there, crossover promotion, kicking it up about the coalition. Now I'm going to roll up my cone joint, and I'm going to go back to relaxing, because really everybody's jacked up about nothing. You know, we've got a chance to move forward. When this started 8 months ago, my friends, I was jacked up. I was freaking frustrated. I knew that we had a chance. It was a David versus Goliath fight. Still is. But the difference is that in the beginning, we had no money. We only had a little bit to kick it off. Mr. Conway was nice enough to entertain the idea that we would be able to do this. And through a host of different hills and valleys, ups and downs if you have it, within the coalition and within the leadership of the coalition, to get to where we are. And at this point, we're still now taking in volunteers. If there's regional reps in areas that we don't have that are interested in potentially working with the committee, you know, please submit your curriculum vitae to the coalition, and we'll bring it up to committee for review. We don't have reps in Saskatchewan. We don't have reps in Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, PEI, New Brunswick. You know, if you guys are out there and you're interested in helping out, even as a volunteer, maybe not necessarily as a committee member, but as a volunteer, but also as a representative for your region, because some regions have less people willing to step up and act at this time. And simply, sometimes it's because the information is not getting out in those regions. So we need all the help we can get in making this a historic case. The reason I keep saying let's raise our numbers is this is not about the legal framework. You know, it's not about the case itself. It's about the historical nature of what we're doing. Medical patients are standing up saying, you know what, enough is enough. 10 years of the failed MMAR program, and now you want to introduce a program such as the MMPR, a failed prairie plant systems, your last LP, if you have it, and now you want to bring in 51 more that you projected, and you want to say, hey, here, this is going to be the new way, and there's no options. I believe at that point, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, Canada's stepping on the Constitution for monetary gain. And when we start to do that, we cease to be Canadians. Our sick, our dying, and our elderly should always come first.
A business is blossoming at a hydroponic shop in BC. Sales have been smoking hot ever since 2 U.S. states legalized marijuana. The company, called Green Planet, carries everything anyone would need to grow plants, any kind of plants, indoors. In Colorado, it is now legal to have 6 marijuana plants in a secure area.